Hey, so it's Klinger from Rock 95.5, and I'm just going to say it. Todd Graves, celebrity, and you were on with me here in Chicago. You got a couple things cooking. You've got Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, which has been a business that you started quite some time ago.
Absolutely. You know, it's crazy to say, but I'm coming up on my 25th anniversary of opening the first Cane's at the North Gates LSU back in 1996.
What did you know about food back then, man? And what was the inspiration to say, hey, you know what, let's give this a go and see if we can get some customers in here and generate some business?
What I knew about the food business was I worked in it, high school, college, and I love the business. I mean, I love food symbolizes love to me, so when your grandmother gives you a nice pie, it's like she loves me. And I like the pace of the restaurant business. It's that immediate gratification. I mean, look, I like working drive-throughs. I like working fry lines, and so I really love the business. But the inspiration for Cane's came about. It was like, man, I wanted to own my own business. I was always an entrepreneurial kind of kid. I was a kid with a lemonade stand. And I wanted to open it up. And it was actually business planning class in college. Got the worst grade in the class because the professor said, just chicken fingers? Oh, man. Anyway, which is classic. That gave me that fuel, right? I mean,
of course it did.
I had to go work at commercial fish in Alaska, be a boiler maker in refineries to open that first restaurant. That became my dream, Raising Cane's.
I love hearing that. You went to UGA, right?
I did.
So I went to Roswell High School just north of Atlanta. I went to Georgia State in Atlanta. It's interesting. Have you ever looped back with that professor years later after now your business is thriving and people love your chicken?
Yeah. Well, we actually wrote the business plan because I had a partner when I started for an LSU professor. But yes, it was Professor, I won't say his name. Yes, he looped back later. And it was just like, I really love the story. It's fun. And look, here to his defense, it was a B-. So he was not a tough grader. It was the worst grade in the class, but it was a B-. So he said the plan was good. He said just at that point, quick service restaurants were adding menu items. It's all about variety. And he's like, look, your industry's going that way. And the big ones like McDonald's and all those are doing that. So then you probably should have studied that more. And in my mind, I'm like, that's actually good. The more they go that way. And I just subscribe to Raising Cane's Chicken, One Love. Do one thing, do it better than anybody else.
I love hearing that. And I just want to give you the nod and appreciation over the years for doing this. I'm not in the restaurant business, but man, my wife and I love eating out and we love awesome service. And I love great food, whether it's at a high price point or on the cheap side. Great food to me is great food. And, we just went out for the very first time and sat in a restaurant for our anniversary on Wednesday night for the first time in a year. And it sounds cheesy, I know, but it gave me goosebumps because it's cool to be back with the service industry again.
Yeah.
And I got that same vibe from the staff there too. They were so happy to welcome people in. I want to talk about your TV show, Restaurant Recovery. Give people, if they've never seen the show, will you give us the Cliff Note version of that real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me tell you first the inspiration behind the show.
Yeah.
Raising Cane's did better during the pandemic because we have a drive-through format, right?
Okay.
That didn't feel good because we were taking that from these independent family-owned restaurants that are predominantly dine-in, right? And so I saw these restaurants suffer. I saw them close. And so it was actually my co-CEO's idea. He said, we were trying to do things. He said, man, you're good at television. I've done it before. He's like, you can see the power of it. So we really went out and created this restaurant recovery show and hired the producers, and we created this show. And it's about what small business, especially restaurant owners, go through when they're independent, right? When they're family owned and their struggles through COVID. And I wanted to go in and be able to help them out with my resources and my team that we have to help out people that really need to turn their predominantly dining room restaurants into to-go machines to help them just get through the pandemic.
Todd, I love hearing that because over the past year, we have done delivery, we have done takeout, and that's it. But we never stopped supporting local restaurants. And what's interesting is how some restaurants are, and you probably can attest to this, a dine-in experience for one restaurant is all they can do. You can't duplicate that experience with a takeout or a pickup. But I will tell you that some restaurants here in Chicago have done an incredible job at packaging with little directions on how to do this and that. And it's not the same experience, but it's pretty awesome nonetheless, right? So for you to come up with Restaurant Recovery, and help these businesses kind of pivot, which maybe they'll go back to after we're out of this crap, is pretty awesome. So when you go into a restaurant, can you ever, like, if you and your family are going out to eat just for a chill meal, can you ever turn it off when you go in and you start taking mental inventory of what they're doing right and what they're not doing?
Yeah, no, I pretty much go to a restaurant and it always goes on. Like if a napkin hits the floor, you're like,
Yes.
I got to get that for them and go.
Yeah.
And then, but when I tell you this though, when restaurants hit it right with service and product,
Yep.
I love it because it's just seamless. It's like a symphony's going off in my head because I'm like, man, they're doing a great job. You have a ball. But if there's areas for improvement, then of course that's what I think about. Like it's like you hear another radio broadcast, and you know what they're doing well and out. Which
I
would
do that
pretty good.
all the time when we're road tripping and we're renting a car or something. I always love listening to the radio, and my wife is just cracking up because I'm like, yeah, that break was too long. They didn't get to the point. They didn't talk about this song. They're not teasing the next one, and I don't know what they're doing. So I guess So what has it been an emotionally taxing experience with some of these family-owned businesses where it takes a minute probably to have the light bulb go off for them? What is that challenge like?
Well, it's the good thing was they trusted me and they had to, right?
Yeah.
And they were a lot of them were anxious and a little bit, cautious because it's their baby.
Yes.
But here's the difference is that some of these other shows, a restaurant, I'm not gonna say it, but they're like, they go in, they tell them they're doing everything wrong and they need to fix their food and all this. These are all successful restaurant operators. I mean, all successful. So look at Mr. Beef. I mean, like in Chicago.
Yep.
I mean, look, Joe is an incredible restaurant operator, but how could he have prepared for virtually overnight a pandemic hits? There's no tourism downtown Chicago.
You're right.
Nobody's working in the office buildings. I mean, like there's overnight, it's a ghost town. And so he goes down to selling 2 or 3 sandwiches. So what do? You start thinking about things you can do, but you're racking up debt. You're trying to keep your people employed.
Yep.
And so you don't have these. So while I'm fresh minded, my team is.
Yeah.
Our business is doing fine. We have those resources to help and to think and to be able to do these things to help out. And so that's basically what it is. These good families I've helped everywhere. What was hard for me is just the emotion, right? These people, you could see it on their face, right? I'm like just thinking the wonderful veteran couple at Billy John's in California. Man, it's like the weight of the world. How are they going to support their daughters? They're racking up $30,000 high interest credit card debt. So just to be able to go in and help these folks out and to help them, like you said, pivot. Even using technology, curbside delivering, mobile ordering. These things aren't easy to set up if you don't have a team, and especially when you're just trying to keep the doors open, right?
Yeah.
That can immediately help their business. Do marketing blitzes, to get people to come back into the restaurant, getting the word out. All these things help for immediate sales, and I really believe they're going to be stronger in the future because not only do they get their dine-in business back, they're also to-go machines now. So I mean, their business is better than ever before.
We're talking with Todd Graves, restaurant recovery, and specifically, let's go back to Mr. Beef. So your synopsis is straight on because over the past couple of months, my wife and I have been going downtown, but it is like it's a ghost town. Not just COVID, but the winter months. So what did you do? What were the top couple of things that you did to help that business start to really bring in more orders?
Yeah, right. And so immediately billboard campaign, right? So you think about it, Mr. Beef is beloved, right?
Yeah.
And people, if they think about it and they see it, they'll go and travel the distance, when they think about Mr. Beef, right?
Yep.
$15,000 billboard campaign right off the bat. I mean, like immediate. Get this thing up, show Mr. Beef signs, show it all around the areas of Chicagoland and make them remember, right? They didn't have the extra money to do marketing right then. They didn't have those extra things to do it. Dressing up the storefront, making it look all nice, new, but still with that same classicness from Mr. Beef, getting that up where people driving by, the people that were down there goes, what's new at Mr. Beef, right? Calling people into the restaurant, seeing that call to order. Also sprucing up the inside with some of the ways they wanted it to be spruced up. Now, I'm not taking the classic counter on one side and all that.
Of course.
But the walls they wanted to warm up. So that was new news to talk about on social media, right? Hey, Mr. Beef's got a little bit of an upgrade, but we kept all the cool things. And also with that too is we didn't change anything that was a classic. We maybe put up COVID shields. Yeah. But there's countertops. That legendary communal table, on their little side dining, weren't going to touch that, right? But we did plexiglass dividers, so more people knew, hey, I can safely go in and eat Mr. Beef. Those sorts of things helped out with a lot of debt load. We had this series of $15,000, like I said, $15,000 marketing campaign, billboard campaign. Also, Hines and Bungie each gave $15,000 to help out with the expenses and the debt that was mounting up. I did another $15,000. Year supply of ketchup, year supply of cooking oil. Just all these things add up to help you just stay afloat for a little bit.
How is business now, or can you tell us?
Yes, he's doing well. He's staying with it. Look, they're survivors, man. Like
Yep.
It wasn't me going in saving their business. It was just me helping them out through a really tough time. So they're doing well, and they're starting to come back, and they're able to maintain. But like these people deserve, like Joe and Chris deserve help, because think about it. In their neighborhood, most of all the old eateries and the old small business, like hardware stores, they've all been replaced by high rises and chains.
I've seen it. We've seen it with our own eyes when you're either walking downtown with your dogs, you're driving around, dude, you totally see it. And it is sad in a climate where we want to support local, man.
That's right. That's right. And so they didn't give in. They didn't sell their property.
Yep,
They're still doing what they've done. They've kept that integrity of their neighborhood. So us helping to preserve these things, all of us supporting our small business, it's important for these places that have a character, they have a soul, to keep going, because when they're gone forever, and they're going to be replaced by a high rise or a chain. And
100%.
More of those. We don't need more of those.
100%. I am, man, I am super amped up to talk to you about this, because small businesses, man, local businesses. I don't know. Is it weird to say that over the past year with COVID, maybe there's more of a spotlight on really helping to support local? And if that's one of the good things that's come out of COVID, doesn't mean we got to kick it to the curb when we're out of it.
That's right. That's a really good point. So the sentiment and the empathy for small business is as high as I've ever seen it. And I hope that stays with it. And I think it will. And that's part of what this restaurant recovery show is about, is about seeing their stories to where you need to support them. Look, I'm a chain, right? And every restaurant's important to me, and I'm in every community, right? And I want you to come to my restaurant, right? And we need to do a good job for you. But then think that next time you're hungry, going somewhere else, because at us chains, we have high marketing budgets. We build big, nice, shiny buildings to grab all this attention, and we can get it out there. You got to remember the Mr. Beefs and say, oh, wait, next week I'm going to Mr. Beef, because I want to support what they're doing, and I want to support that family. Let's get people that are listening and checking out Rock 95.5 here in Chicagoland to point themselves in that direction, and to check out your TV show, man. Well, I appreciate it, man. It's a good mission. These are a bunch of good people, and it was just nice to show their story. I can tell within 25 minutes, I can tell in a couple of minutes that you're a superstar, and you're just a good, truly, no joke, that you're just a good human being. And that to me is the spice of life, man. When you come into contact with people like yourself, or that just want to give a helping hand, it has that all in this together mentality, which I absolutely subscribe to. So I appreciate what you're doing, and I can't wait to see your show, man. Well, I appreciate that too, man. Look, I've just been so fortunate. So what are the fortunate people supposed to do? Yep. Pay it forward. And then all these people pay it forward. So it's actually giving, you get more back. So I've gotten more out of it than anybody.